Okay. Are we live?
I'll let you know.
No.
Oh, somebody's, is there a local body meeting today at 1 p.m? There's Ismay downstairs asking.
We're live.
So is this open?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we're live.
Oh,
Yes, we're live now.
somebody's asking.
Right, I just want to welcome everybody to our working group to do a submission for the Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton board to the long-term plan. Just want to say that the first 3 years, once it's decided by council, are virtually set in concrete. The following 7 years are much more flexible. So we're having a look at some of the questions council's asked people to do, and then the other thing we can do is put in the projects that we're particularly strongly advocate for Hornby, Halswell and Riccarton. And we could leave that potentially till Thursday, but if we can do that today, that's good. So what we'll do is we'll skip over what matters most and go to the second question of rates. We'll come back to what matters most. So looking at rates,
Can I just answer first? So the first
because it's tricky.
yes. The first question up there is just, does the board wish to be heard and support? So I'm gathering.
Oh yes,
the board would wish.
yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and we only have just a short amount of time as a board to actually present. So some of the data they'll get from this is quite critical because it's feeding into a computer system.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
I said, Debbie Moore, I said to make myself known to her.
She's not here.
But you're
welcome to.
you're a member of the public.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome too. You're probably the only person.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you. So looking at rating levels, they're asking us, have they got this right? It's a 12.4% increase for an average residential rate. And should we be maintaining our existing levels of service and level of investment in our core infrastructure and facilities? So I'll just open that up. Has anyone got a comment? Yes, no, maybe. Sarah.
Sure. So my concern about the question that's asked is that I believe there are other areas outside service levels that have an impact on rates. So I would be answering yes to the fact that, the constituents that I've spoken to have all pretty much all said that they're not willing to pay the proposed rates increase.
Right, thank you.
So that would be the answer to that question.
And we'll just go around everybody and then come to some, if we can, come to some consensus.
Yes.
Marie?
Yeah. So I looked at this one, and my response to here is that I've heard some people, I can't quantify, but that we cannot maintain our existing levels of service or investment if we cannot afford it. So some levels of service will have to be reduced. It's just a matter of finding options, other options, exploring other options.
And in my view, I'm concerned that if we cut back our existing levels of service, because I often find that they cut back on core infrastructure, and so the roads aren't swept as much or things aren't done as well. But I think it's too high. 12.4% is too high. So is there any consensus from that?
I think for me, if we're going to look at options, well, what we value the most, which came out of the what matters most consultation last year, was there was some priority about with the water, the transport, and the parks, was it? Parks and climate change. So those ones will have to maintain at least existing levels of service for those ones. But with the others, maybe if there's a chance that we can look at reducing, perhaps,
I know.
just explore
I don't know if I'd be willing to decrease service levels at this stage
at the priority areas.
without looking at other things first. For example, am I allowed to speak now?
Yes, sure. But we're trying to find a consensus if we can.
So there was an option to increase the financial return to ratepayers from the CCHL companies. The option to give the CCHL companies more flexibility to invest and divest, which was expected to generate greater returns and therefore reduce rates, but that was not supported at council. Would there be a willingness to support, explore?
Yeah, so
Well-
that's what I say, because that's not part of the top priorities of levels of service for water, transport, and parks and climate change. So this one is part of those others that can be explored.
Sure,
So-
okay.
Yeah,
Is there a consensus for that?
I think so, yes.
so that's an example of other
So-
options that can be looked into
So we
Yeah.
want an emphasis on core infrastructure
to maintain at
and
least the level of
facilities
service
to
for the
maintain
core.
that, but there may be some other sort of adjustments.
So the question online
Is
is, should we be maintaining our existing levels of service and levels of investment in our core infrastructure and facilities?
I think the answer is
That
yes.
will-
Yes,
And then goes on,
That's right,
which will
yes.
mean a
Yeah,
proposed
so that'll be
average
yes.
rates increase
Yes.
across.
So-
And so is the answer then yes?
yes,
Yes,
But we
but-
believe, and the
but-
comments would be, the council should be looking at other ways.
Other
Yes.
ways. And core
But-
infrastructure's always, are we talking about social infrastructure there as well? So that's a question I've got. So,
Could we say, but
but
there are other areas outside service
Yes.
levels that have an impact?
outside the core infrastructure and
outside
facilities.
core
Yeah.
infrastructure,
I don't
yeah.
think you need to say but, you could just say yes, and then the
Yes,
board,
and then comment.
and then comment. The
comment,
board is
yes.
supportive of investigation into alternative X, Y, Z.
Particularly if
Outside
it's
of the
outside core.
core
So
infrastructure and
the
facilities.
emphasis is on core
Yes.
for us, and there's other areas of council services that could be explored.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do want to emphasise our
That
our
example?
willingness to want to reduce rates for our community,
Yes, we can put that in.
because
Yes. So I think we're strongly supportive of getting the
Yeah,
rates
you can add that point as well.
below 10%. You're talking about 10% or below?
ideally,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah,
Yes, I'd be supportive of that.
yeah, but
Ideally,
that's what they
Subject to
actually
what
have been
is.
trying to
I know,
to
I
do,
know, I
and
know.
they
but it's been voted down, like that
Yes.
was voted down, and also correct me if I'm wrong, but the staffing, geez, was there one around? No,
No.
nothing came to council about.
no, that's not part of the
No,
LTP
the board won't comment,
process.
board shouldn't comment on stuff.
no. It's
Sorry, I
only
don't mean
levels of
staff, I
service.
just mean like organisational,
That's operational.
staffing levels.
That's
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's not applicable to what this answer is.
Well, but this is the thing though, like, these
Yes,
are
I
other
know.
areas that could be investigated to decrease rates, but there's not an opportunity to,
Yeah, so unless you've got consensus amongst, what you want to put in there, I wouldn't put it, I'd probably put that in a personal submission.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, was there a consensus for that?
Oh, I think they, in my view, they have to look at senior levels, a bit like central government is at present, where they're saying we're not taking off frontline services, but the people behind that.
We don't know what happened.
And I don't know.
Because it's all under wraps
So,
around their management last year, and
my view on staffing levels is that we are only focused on levels of service, and the levels of service will dictate the staffing levels. So if you are requiring a high level of service and you don't have enough staff to do that,
It's not
then-
about getting rid of staff, it's about the organisational structure.
And so we have
Given
been
that-
going through restructuring
I know,
almost
I know.
every year.
I know.
it's
I know,
also
I know.
important to remember that the distinction between governance
Yeah,
and
and it's
operational matters.
separate.
So
Okay.
community boards don't have a say on how the council
How
is
it's
structured.
run.
and
Okay.
run.
Who,
That's
who does?
CEO.
See,
So that
Ah.
comes from,
it's a separate
The
structure.
CEO basically,
Okay,
it-
okay, that's fine.
and there are a group of councillors, I used to be on that, who look after, not look after, supervise the CEO. So there is a structure there.
Reviews.
so coming back to the question,
So just to reiterate, the question is, should we be maintaining our existing levels of service, one, and levels of investment in our core infrastructure and facilities? So they're two things.
there's one answer. So just
There's
to
one
get through
answer.
One
this.
is levels of service and one is.
Okay, so you've agreed, you're ticking yes?
Yes.
With
Yes.
ticking yes, but
You've got the comments?
and the emphasis is on core. Our emphasis on that is on core,
Core infrastructure.
and also on trying to bring the rates down to
So
what level?
the comment I've got down, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the board considers that the council should be looking at other options to reduce the average rates increase to below 10%.
Below 10%.
If possible. Or did you, that was the number you
You happy-
mentioned, but
you
you want to
happy-
add that or did you just reduce?
Are you comfortable with 10%-ish? Sort of.
Do you think
I can't put
Or you want to just reduce the
just
rates?
reduce, reduce
Sarah,
some more.
what about
I
you?
think ideally a single digit figure would be more
Yes.
palpable within the community.
Yeah, I think it would be. If we could put that, would you be happy with that? We believe our community is looking for something in single digits, a rating level.
Which
and-
will be technically under 10%.
under 10%,
Below
yes.
10%.
Board believes.
Our community,
Community
yes. I think they
Which
do
is
believe
more
it's too high.
affordable for.
Mm,
would consider
yes.
an increase. So 10%
Mhm,
to be acceptable,
yes.
And do you want to put anything else in there? Well, so we've said the board considers the council should look at other means to reduce, or other options, other areas. Do you want to put examples in there?
We've got the
Sarah
example of,
mentioned.
The thing is,
I'd be happy.
Mm,
yeah, because I mean, it's good, you have examples. The thing is, we have been told that they have tried and tried and
I
tried
know,
to cut down, but we don't know what they actually looked at. So we don't know whether what we come up with is that they have already looked at before. So I don't know,
I don't think you probably need examples here. It's
No.
just that clear messaging of what the board is
That-
advocating for. You're not
Mm.
telling them
mm.
what to look
what
at.
to look at. You're saying this is what we're
Because
advocating for.
They
Okay.
have looked at
Yeah.
already so
Mm.
much before,
That
so
answer.
yeah, they will
addresses the
know.
question.
Yes.
Faye, we
where to
can
look.
do the technical
Yeah, but
wordsmithing later.
Yeah, we're not putting it in
No,
now.
no.
We
Okay.
are,
Just get a basic gist of it.
yeah,
That's
we're
good.
drafting it.
And
Right.
can I give them an accolade? I think it's really good what they've done here. How does your budget affect the rates? They often talk about the average home,
What page is that?
page 40. And they've done a number of houses there. So it shows the increase, I think is helpful. So that's an accolade, which has only happened this time.
Okay, so the board appreciates
Appreciate page 40, the outline.
outline on page
Right.
40 of consultation. Page 40 or 14?
40.
Mm. That's really helpful, I think. So someone on 1.5 million is 773.
Should we move on to the next?
Next question is, okay, fees and charges.
No, vacant, city vacant differential rating.
Do you have
must-
any
you-
comments on our proposed changes to how we rate The second question
Oh.
under rates.
Oh, do you have any comments on proposed changes to how we rate?
No, but we're proposing some changes on how we rate, including changes to the city vacant differential, rating visitor accommodation in a
Yeah.
residential unit as a
Oh, okay, I
business,
missed that,
Yeah,
sorry.
and changes to our rates of payment and remissions for charities plus policies.
Yeah, and the question there was, do you have any comments on our proposed changes
Yes.
to how we rate?
We'll just go round here, I think. Marie, have you got anything there?
Yes, so I looked at the booklet, and so they had a few questions in there of different topics. So about the city vacant differential rates, I was just mentioning that as with our board submission to the annual plan,
Mhm.
we did support the city differential, what do you call that? City vacant differential rating.
We did.
So now what they're proposing in this LTP is to include suburban centers, which are in Linwood, New Brighton, Sydenham, and Littleton. It does not affect us, but I would suggest that we also support this.
Do you? Okay.
Yes,
Sarah,
this the vacant buildings that,
the vacant buildings.
because we're rating them already in Central City. The proposal now is to include those not vacant buildings, vacant properties in suburban centers.
And so what's the impact of that? That means we generate revenue.
Mm.
What is the impact on landlords of those properties?
Well, if we put up the rates for that, they will be encouraged to
Yes, the
build-
purpose
to
is
build-
to encourage
develop the
development.
property,
Yeah.
because it is an eyesore to see all these vacant sites, not just in Central City. And so now we have this in New Brighton, a lot of vacant sites.
Oh, I
I
see.
agree, but I just haven't heard enough from business owners to know what that impact might be on development.
Or what it means.
From what I
Mm.
read, at least from somewhere here, I can't remember the exact figure, but the number of vacant sites had reduced because the business developers, business owners had started
Got on with it.
developing
Mm.
or building on their vacant sites.
Mm.
It had encouraged them to do
Yeah,
that.
and that's obviously a good thing for the city. I'm just mindful of the impact on business owners.
So business owners who don't have anything on that site.
Yeah, I know, but there's
Yes.
So what
all
is-
sorts of reasons why they haven't potentially built. I don't know what they are necessarily, but I just haven't heard their side of the story to be able to agree one way or the other.
And
But
you
that's-
didn't manage to have time to talk to any of those, but it's not within our board area anyway.
This is the thing. So,
Mm.
yeah.
But it might spread, of course, at some point.
But we don't have any vacant sites.
So for the purposes of this
Yes.
LTP, that's what we're focusing on. So
Mm.
are there any
We could,
implications?
so what I've written down is board supports, the existing vacant differential rating being extended.
To
I could put
suburban
in there, the
centres.
board generally supports. Would that
Well,
qualify?
I'm
under that?
not sure. I'm a bit like Sarah.
I just feel ill-informed
Yes,
to answer
yes,
that.
Yes, I support the Central City
Yeah.
differential, but I'm not sure about those other properties. I don't know. And
So these are
No,
the
no.
ones in New Brighton,
yes,
in Linwood,
So,
Bankston, Littleton, and Sydenham.
yes.
so in your
Spring.
discussions with the other board members, did you have a sense of, as a board, were you in favour of this,
No,
or even answering this question as a board?
No.
no.
So then maybe you just,
We don't have to comment
No. Don't
have to
specifically
comment.
on that.
Perhaps we don't comment on it.
so if the
that's-
board does not have a substantive position on this, you can
Mm.
just move on to the next question.
Yes.
Well,
So that was just one,
but-
yes.
That is one of them. So it says changes to the city
Yep.
vacant differential,
Yep.
rating visitor
Yep,
accommodation.
so I
in-
haven't.
Oh, sorry, Marie,
Yes,
sorry,
if I continue, so that was number one, so, because you asked me what my point.
sorry.
And the second one, I was, yes, to the rating of unhosted residential accommodation as a business activity.
I think we do we, or not?
No, because the Airbnbs are rated as residential. So now they're being rated as a business rather than residential, the unhosted visitor accommodation. If it's hosted, if like the the people living in that house
Mm.
are accepting bed and breakfast.
Yes.
Yep, so they're still rated as residential. But for those residential properties that there's nobody in there, but they're being used as business for,
Oh, I see.
bookings, then they will be rated as a business activity. And
Well,
I,
that's reasonable, is it?
yes,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I support,
I think it's
Right.
reasonable, yeah, because you have them popping up and
yes.
in all sorts of suburban places.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think that's reasonable, actually.
And then there was the third one,
Rates
the,
postponement,
the
which I
the
have a few
rates
postponement.
postponement, yes.
Now,
So
that's a change, and can I just talk on that?
Can I just
Yeah,
finish
go
my?
ahead, go
yeah.
ahead.
So I said here, yes to the ending of the automatic age-based qualification for significant hardship of any, that means any age will qualify
Yes,
as long as they can prove that they are in significant
Yes.
hardship. Because what we have right now is that it's age-based.
that's right,
When you're 65, then you're eligible.
eligible.
But now the proposal is to remove that age-based 65. So anybody at what age, if you're in significant hardship, you can apply.
Yes, I support. Can I say what
I
I
support that.
Can I say I support that anyone can apply who's in hardship,
Yes,
but I do have some concern about people over 65 who are retired. Can't postpone their rates. And what it means, if your house goes up in price and you're on a reduced income, you'll find it harder and harder to afford your rates. So look, if you can leave
but they can
that bit out.
postpone.
No, they can't now.
Why
With
can't
this
they?
change. It's
No.
only on hardship.
No,
It's only so the automatic adjustment for people who have retired, that's the theory behind it.
There was never an automatic adjustment for
No.
over 65. It was always on the basis of hardship.
it was
Yes.
based on the basis of
No, it
hardship,
wasn't
but they
actually.
were eligible once they reached the age of 65.
No, I think it's now saying that if someone's in a house with a bit of land and it's got expensive, but they'll have to shift. I think we.
No, I don't think so.
I think we probably should keep it out actually, because I think it's one of the things I sort of don't agree with.
Okay, so if you don't have a board position on that,
Yeah.
I'd probably,
Yeah.
No, we just need
But I agree with
clarification,
it being-
maybe.
I agree with it being extended to anyone suffering hardship.
Yes.
Yes, I'm happy with that.
So that was the
Well,
proposal.
let's state that.
Yes,
Yes.
Let's
So the
state
board
that.
supports
Let's say
the ending of the age basis for qualification for applications for rates remission on the basis of hardship.
Hardship, and I guess is put a question mark there about what happens to seniors. I mean,
They're
do it
still
later.
eligible.
They're still eligible.
They're still
but-
eligible.
But only,
They're not the only
only on
people.
hardship grounds, where they used to be. I think it was a lot
No,
more.
it was
No.
still on hardship grounds,
No,
even when
no.
you're 65.
I don't think so.
It is,
It is. It's written here.
I don't think it is though. I think it was more generous actually. I'll check on that if you like. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we don't have to comment either on it. We can let. Now,
And then there was another question on, I mean, another part to that
remissions
question.
for charities, yes.
The proposed changes to the policy.
Yes.
My answer is I don't know, because I don't know what the proposed changes are to the wording of the policy.
And I don't know what effect it would have on charities.
And I
either.
also don't know anything about heritage targeted rate and active travel targeted rate. So for me, my answer was.
I don't know.
What was that last part that you said?
There was something about heritage targeted rate and active travel targeted rate. So it was on page, hang on, this is rates, page 13.
page?
Hang on,
Well,
no,
it's from 41.
please, here we go, page 42. Right column, the bottom 2 bullet points. We're also consulting on 2 smaller proposed changes to existing rates. So those 2 bullet points, I don't really have a clue. Or I haven't understood well.
So we're on page 41 or
42.
42?
The two bullet points on the right column, Helen.
I say we just hold, don't, no
So
comment on
that's-
that.
Yeah, that's a don't know from me.
Oh, the heritage targeted rate.
Unless you know something about it, I don't.
I think it probably doesn't matter actually,
Okay,
either way.
so we can
We
just
can probably
skip that
Well,
or not comment on that.
Not
I don't
comment,
know.
I think. Yeah. I don't think.
I feel more
think
comfortable
it-
passing with the
Yeah.
information that's presented there.
Yes.
I don't have enough information.
No,
to
yeah.
react.
I
so
don't
no-
either.
So no comment on that.
No comment, yeah. What do
And-
you want on charities though? And we wanted to
Charities.
comment on that?
Hang on, where is the charities one?
Just the last part of it, remissions for charities policies. It's in the same.
Yeah, so that's the one. It says, we're proposing to simplify the wording of our remission policy, but it doesn't tell us what the.
If it would
wording-
be helpful, I could get Marie to come in. She's run a number of these drop-in sessions.
No,
No, you don't think so?
No.
Uh,
So that,
I guess we just don't actually know on that one,
I
do we?
don't know.
Well, it
No.
says online here, the council has a long-standing policy of remitting up to 100% of the rates payable on properties used by not-for-profit community-based groups.
yes,
However, the current policy wording is unnecessarily complex
Complex
and
and
may
restrict-
restrict flexibility to provide the remissions we
Yep.
consider to be appropriate.
and the
We're
next,
proposing to simplify the wording
That's fine.
So-
to give us
yes.
more flexibility to
But-
grant remissions that are consistent with the council's objectives and the extent of the ratepayers' financial
yes,
needs.
but what is
support.
that
It
wording?
sounds reasonable, doesn't
Yes.
Oh.
Do we need to know what the wording
Wording.
is?
it? Yes, I know.
Jess, would it be
You can go on.
We
advantageous
just
to find
support-
out the
we
wording?
Support to amend the wording, but
Yeah,
We
I
don't
don't
know.
know what the
I don't know what the wording
Yes.
is.
the wording
You
is.
can find it online.
So we
We
support
support
it
to simplify.
subject
to
to the wording
simplify.
Wording.
online, yeah.
Yeah.
We support it subject
Subject
to the wording
to the
online,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, the
We
wording
support to
is there.
simplify,
Mm.
but subject to the.
Yeah,
wording.
subject to,
If the substantive policy and message hasn't changed, it's just been simplified.
Yeah.
then-
yes.
So
Then you
It's-
support a
it's
simplification.
fine.
Yeah,
Yes.
we
simplification.
support
Yeah.
to simplify
Yeah,
the
that's all
policy.
that's all that means.
Yes,
Okay,
I'd hate to be adding extra burdens on them though,
Okay.
too. Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Okay, fees and charges. Do you have any comments on our proposed changes to fees and charges? And I've got an example of change parking charges at key parks. So we'll just start with Sarah and then Marie and then myself.
I'm just finding it in here because there was.
Fees and charges, page 43.
43.
We had quite vigorous debate about it yesterday.
And yeah, it's just important to remember what you heard at the pop-up sessions, what you
Yes.
heard with your constituents and
Yes.
the community groups, what they're telling you.
Mm.
So,
Well, I'll start off. Where we came to yesterday was that all day we only support fees and charges for people who are parking in parks all day or long term. So we actually want to
No, hang on,
stop.
that was particular,
Yes, we actually
specifically
Botanic Gardens and
Botanic
Hagley Park.
Gardens,
In Hagley Park.
Armour Street
Yes.
car park,
Mm. And Hagley
And-
Park.
the tennis courts car
Yes.
park.
And the one opposite, which is the cricket. Because they're parking there all day.
No, but that's designed for hospital staff to park in
Is it?
and hospital visitors.
Is it? Okay.
Which one? Which part?
The car park that runs along Hagley Park outside the cricket grounds.
Is it? Are you sure?
It's not officially, but
Okay.
I know that a lot of
Yeah.
workers and
Yeah.
hospital visitors park there.
Is that free parking
Mm.
along Hagley Ave?
You know, the car park that's set off just the roadside that goes along the road? Opposite the hospital,
Yes.
further
By
down.
the
Riccarton
cricket
Road.
grounds. Cricket.
Not Riccarton.
No, what's the road that comes
Hagley.
between the two parks? Dean,
Dean's Avenue, Riccarton Avenue.
Riccarton Avenue.
Goes past the
Riccarton-
hospital.
Riccarton Avenue. Yeah,
Do you know what I'm
Yes,
talking
yes.
about?
with the the spring, the peach blossoms, the spring blossom.
No, that's on the other side.
Oh,
No. So, okay. If you were to go to the emergency department of the hospital,
yeah.
okay.
So near the women's
Yeah,
hospital.
so opposite Christchurch Women's, on the other side of the road, where there's the cricket pavilion, there's a car park that's been recently tar sealed. It was
Inside the
on the Hagley Park grounds.
by the cricket
isn't
grounds.
that the Horticultural Society, Faye?
That's it.
By where the Horticultural Society used to be.
Round there.
Yeah,
You mean
so
the
that's the
parking
car park
strip.
you're talking
But
about.
that's not an official car park area.
No,
is it?
it's
It
not.
is. It's been
It is.
asphalted and
It certainly has some car parking. I parked there.
Yeah, it is a car
Yes,
park.
but I'm not
yes,
sure
but
if
it's not for the
so- a
a
hospital.
designated.
You
site.
want to come in? And
Bringing it back, so with that, you want to make a point about that specific car park?
no, I'm wanting to say that my view is that we don't charge people to going to the Botanic Gardens or Hagley Park
Okay, so
and
does the-
other areas,
is
as
the
long
board-
as it's short-term stay and they're going there with their children or with the grandmother or whatever. So it's the all-day parking, which is the problem.
So with the board in agreement at this point?
Well, they were yesterday.
there was 4 of us present when we
Yeah.
discussed this.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not a
But we were looking at probably agreeing to the 460 for 3 hours, which wasn't
Yes, I
that
think 3
much.
hours. I think 3 hours sounds
460.
reasonable. Yeah.
$4.60 for 3
For
hours.
3 hours.
Oh, no. So I'm opposed to that because people, as you intensify, you need to take your children somewhere and therefore you have to, or your family, regardless of, so you need to have that access. It's the all-day parking that they want to
Gardens.
stop.
Yeah, it is 460 for
Yes.
3 hours.
So in this document,
Mm.
they say Botanic Gardens and Hagley Park, but they haven't told us exactly which car parks they're talking about.
Well, I think we can make it a broad view of it unless you'd have to have just either opposed in principle to it or also your favourite, I think.
Can you understand the complexity of this, Jess?
No, well, it's,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Because there's the 2 car parks that are close to the Botanic Gardens, which ideally would be used for people visiting the gardens,
Yes.
Hagley Park,
yes, I know.
and perhaps had a 4-hour time
Mm.
limit. But anyone that's parking there, that's going to walking into
Yes.
work or elsewhere for 8 hours or longer, then people lose the
So when
ability to
you've-
use that.
Like, as you as board members have gone out with these questions and understood what you need to submit on, people told you, what's the feedback?
To be honest, people that I've spoken to have been so confused by the whole process, and they're pretty much trusting me to make an informed decision on their behalf because they don't understand the complexity of all of this. Equally, I'm really struggling to understand the complexity of it all.
Mm.
So for this particular question, does the board have a position on it? Or do you want to?
Well, I've got a
Well,
very strong view on it.
In
that's-
general first,
Yes.
so in general
In general,
first,
yes.
aside from those 2, Hagley Park and the Botanic Gardens, they are proposing also increase or reduction, changes to fees and charges in all of the
I know,
other
I know,
council services. So probably we support that, or do we?
No, I don't think so. Like
the resource consents,
I mean, if you've got a park
facilities.
somewhere,
Hang on, just here for Marie. So
Yes, so I looked at the thick book.
Yes.
And I listed here, it's like, there's a lot, like even the library services, entries to the water, the hot salt water pools in New Brighton,
yes.
fees and charges to the museum, the libraries, pool hire, gym membership, everything that council charges on. There are some changes to the fees and the charges. So
increased fee?
some increased, some reduced. So you'll have to look at that thick book, the thick volume
Downstairs.
in detail if you want to look at those, but
I don't know that
it's
we'd get-
only some like $1 increase, $2, but yeah, so
Yeah.
fees.
It's
So in
just a minor
general-
increase, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a regular of what increase annual every 2 or 3 years. We increase the charges anyway,
Yes, I
even
know.
resource consents fees
Yes.
increase,
It's
things
very
like that.
standard.
Everything, library services, photocopying for, all
So
of
I
those.
know when the new facility was opened at QE2, they put in facility to charge to go into the car park. So a car parking fee, but they've never done it. There's never been a fee put in
So-
place. But presumably that might be the kind of thing they're looking at
So
here.
off-street car parking, Litchfield Street
Simple.
Car Park, from $4.10 per hour or part thereof, it will increase by 20 cents, from $4.10 to $4.30. So,
Which doesn't matter particularly, does it?
yes, so this is the general fees and charges.
So does anyone agree with me, because I'm quite firm on this, that we don't want to charge families or individuals going to sports or other grounds. We don't want to charge, but we want to charge all-day parkers who are going there.
If you
If
do
that's the
have a
problem.
very strong
Mm.
opinion on something, a personal opinion, that should be done in a personal
Well,
submission.
I'm sure I'm talking for other families here. So,
That's just a reminder for anyone. so,
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So do people agree or not? If you don't, we'll leave it, I think.
I'm going to need more time to go through and look at each thing.
Well, another
You
thing
don't
is-
need to do that so much, Sarah, actually. It's an option. The fees and charges, this is a specific thing they're coming in with, a fresh thing. Everything else is just standardised.
Yeah,
taking things
So what I was
upwards.
trying to say
Mm.
was that in general,
In
so
general.
those ones, the fees and charges,
Yes,
I mean, to me, they're fine.
just fine.
So now
yes.
they're asking for specific comments on other
Yes,
items, so
yes.
that's where the Hagley Park
Yes, the
comes,
Hagley Park.
or the Botanic Gardens come in. But do we agree whether,
Do you agree or not? Because if you don't, we'll move on.
So we'd be charging people to use the gardens in Hagley Park $4.60 for 3 hours.
Yes.
I personally, representing my constituents, can't agree with that.
Mhm.
What I can agree on is charging people that use those car parks for longer than 4
Yes.
hours.
Yes, I can too. I can do that. Are you agreeing?
and that's what
Yeah.
we
Mm.
discussed,
Oh,
I
agreed
think, yesterday,
Yes.
that day users should be charged.
Charge, yes, we've
Yes,
all
so the
agreed.
So
comment,
how do we,
so the comment I've got down is the board does not support fees and charges that impact the cost of access to sports or other facilities.
no,
for-
it was specific
It's
only
specific to
to
that.
Gardens
Botanic Gardens.
and Hagley Park.
Okay,
It was only specific
Yes.
to the Botanic Gardens
But we
and
need
Hagley
to
Park.
think they could charge for a range of facilities too. I think we support it. If
The-
people are
in
using that
general,
facility.
the
yeah.
other ones,
Mm.
You've got to keep in mind though, Helen, the families that are using these facilities, by increasing the car park fees, could make taking their family to the swimming pool for 4 hours, 3 hours unaffordable.
Mm. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if what they're doing is trying to control all-day parking, then that's what they have to control.
But this is the thing
Yeah.
that we're balancing. They might be paying it when they're using it and then their rates are decreasing. So they're not having to outlay as much for their rates or to their landlord who have put the charges on. And,
Oh.
it's
just
about
think-
finding that balance.
I think all
it's
stuff
a
up
really tricky
families
thing.
actually doing things. Have you got
The other
something there,
thing-
Faye, that's in the
well,
middle?
no, so I've just got that general comment there that the board is reluctant to support. or
No, opposed.
Does not support.
Does not
Opposed,
support parking, charging for parking up to 4 hours.
No, it says 3 hours.
Well, what do you, 3 hours? I'm
3
Well, no,
hours.
we're
It's 3
disagreeing
hours.
with
The
this.
proposal is 3 hours,
Yeah.
$4.60 for 3 hours.
Yes, so
In
we're
the-
opposed to that, but we do support targeting all-day parkers.
All day
I wouldn't
The
say
people
targeting
charging-
all-day parkers.
charging
I would
Charging
say
all-day
parkers.
parkers, yes.
for-
But
And
then
they
how
are
do we
doing that.
police all day parkers?
They are doing that.
I don't know, and given it's only 620 car park, well, 620, is it the two?
They
I
are.
have a
The
question.
other thing is we have got a board briefing on Thursday.
Yeah, We can ask for
we have park
clarification.
staff there, so we can speak with them about, so we put this.
Will we have an
in our
opportunity to
draft.
revisit this before it
Yes.
gets submitted on
Yes.
Sunday?
Yes,
Yes.
oh, yes,
It'll be
yes.
submitted on Friday.
But if you ask people,
So we've got the
Sarah,
briefing on Thursday.
yes, I know.
Yeah.
So these questions ask on Thursday.
The other
To
thing,
the
Sarah, if
park
you
staff.
change your mind on this, isn't
But
it?
hang on, but will there be an opportunity, will we be getting together again on Friday?
No, you'll
Well,
have
you could-
something in
You
writing.
could stay after, we could stay after for half an hour
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever,
we
to
could do that.
revisit
What-
some of these
what's
questions,
the-
or I could send the
Yeah.
draft.
By
I mean, I
email.
can send out the draft. as soon
Sarah,
as I've done it.
what's the issue you have with this? I mean, it makes sense to not have all-day parkers in the Botanic Gardens and Hagley Park.
How do
But
we
they-
police that?
I know, but I mean, that's another issue for them.
I didn't have an issue with that.
Oh, you don't know, because they shouldn't be taking up.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's park this one. We've got
No,
the
no,
gist of
no,
the
no, I think that we're
question.
basically there, but
Yep, we're gonna,
we can discuss it further. I don't quite, try and understand what,
Now, Helen, what you say is saying is correct there,
yes.
that we will revisit this once we've got
Yes, we'll-
further
we'll-
information
we'll
from our
put
briefing on
that-
Thursday.
that comment in the draft.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fine.
absolutely.
But in the back of our minds, we know that we're going to explore it further with park
Okay,
staff. on
great.
Thursday.
And I have a additional question. It's not on the Botanic Gardens, but on the Hagley Park car parking. Because in that volume 1, where all the details are, I found on page 254, there was a specific item of Hagley Park car parking, which was the same $4.60 for 3 hours. And then on page 268, there was about parking fees for Hagley Park events. So which Hagley car
So-
parking are they talking
so-
about?
let's ask this on Thursday and get clarification.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
and I can also pre-flag these questions as well, so they can come
Cool.
prepared.
Mm.
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Mm.
Yeah.
But think as to why you feel opposed to this, what I'm suggesting. Because I've used the Botanic Gardens a lot when I
No,
had
no, I'm
children.
not opposed to
Yeah.
it.
We want
Yeah.
clarification and just
Yes.
discuss.
No, no,
potential
but
discrepancies.
I'm not
Yes.
opposed to it.
Okay.
I'm just,
it
um,
just doesn't make sense to have all-day parkers there.
yes, the
Yeah.
all-day parkers that,
And I know that Debbie feels a bit differently, but that was from the point of
I
view
used
of
to
being a
park there half a
worker.
day.
A worker.
Okay, let's go to the next
So,
question.
okay, operational spending. Operational spending funds the day-to-day services the council provides. Everything we own, build and provide requires
Operational.
people to get the work done. For example, operational costs to operate a library or to service our parks and waterways includes staff salaries and maintenance and running costs such as electricity and insurance. So
So operational.
I had two, if I could start off and we'll go round. I had, maybe we can cut back on the library hours.
No,
This is-
no, it's,
can I just?
the question is, are we prioritizing the right things? That's the question. Not that.
Just go to
cut
page
back yet.
26.
Oh,
we've got a
yes.
Summary.
Well, I don't know. I've sort of got some comments. Sarah, have sort of you got comments on that? And then we'll go to Marie. Do you want me to
I-
pass?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marie, go first.
Yeah, okay,
You
so
go- you go first,
operational
Marie.
spending, so, yeah, so I looked at what matters most to our
Mhm.
residents, and they came back to us. And they said what's important to us, the communities, the water, transport, waste and recycling, parks and foreshore, which are the big spenders here in the operational. So
Yes.
I think, in my view, we are prioritizing the right things,
Okay.
because it follows with what was the outcome of what matters most to
Okay,
people.
thank you. And Sarah, have you got an opinion on this?
Regarding Three Waters, just trying to understand the impact of the 2066 million.
Well, a lot of that will be upgrading the drinking water.
Correct. 500 million on renewals, say 200 million on upgraded pump stations, and 51 million on new chlorination equipment and controls. That part of it is something I have further questions around.
Which page are you on?
30,
Right, thank you.
because so this is spending, not strategy. So just correct me if this is the wrong place to be providing this feedback. But I think it's really important that we prioritise a roadmap to be eligible for a chlorine exemption. To be eligible for a chlorine exemption, we need to fill certain criteria according to the Act at the moment. And I don't know if that 51 million allows for that.
So is there a question you want staff to answer?
This is a big topic that we could talk about later on
Thursday.
next year.
So what would be helpful if you flick that question to me in an email, and we can have that try to be answered on Thursday evening.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, and then we know where we're our best place to put that in the submission.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a comment you'd want there anyway, potentially.
No, it's a question.
A question,
I want
okay.
to know if that 51 million includes a roadmap that's prioritised to be eligible for a chlorine exemption for Christchurch.
Yeah, just reach that to me.
That's quite good, thank you. And
So then coming
Yes.
back to everything else.
so do you go yes, no, or don't know?
So everything that's covered here, as Marie said,
Yes.
is
Follows.
what the
Community.
feedback from what matters most.
Okay.
In terms of the budget allocations,
It's the
I don't know-
details, it's the specifics
the
that
specifics,
we
yes.
want to know more.
we could address that after Thursday.
So we probably,
That's in the comments that
Okay.
are coming in the comments.
so we're going between yes and don't know, then at present.
No, just
No, just-
don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
For now,
You
we don't know. We'll
no.
answer the question.
Yeah, perhaps we play a tentative don't know, but we'll ask questions on Thursday. I had a comment as that the 725 million for parks, heritage and coastal environment, I think it's an odd mixture of different activities. So I think the heritage and coastal environment need their own headings. So I've got no question about the 725. I don't know enough about it, but we need to isolate out
You want
heritage.
to know the breakdown? is
The
that what you're
breakdown,
saying?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. If people agree with that, I think we
Do we not have a breakdown somewhere? Oh, it'll be in the
26.
volume 1. Yeah.
Does coastal
volume one.
environment,
Mm.
is that another name for climate change?
No,
it's coastal retreat, isn't it? Sort of climate.
so the coastal areas
Yeah, but
specifically.
in terms
we
of
have-
stop banks and or what?
Coastal environment is actually mapped in the district land planning maps, and it's how many meters landward from the mean water springs.
Okay.
So if this is your beach, so how many meters inland will be your coastal environment?
Mm.
I don't know have the
I
specifics.
I don't think it should be tangled up with
No.
parks or heritage. It should be just it's a minor point, but heritage, you could have the cathedral if you like, or you could have the Canterbury Museum, which is heritage.
I don't think
It's-
that's really the question.
No, but I want to make a comment because otherwise you'll just get, I think it needs to be separated out. It's a comment only.
Well, we'll see if we can find the separation. There must be a separation.
Yes,
somewhere.
it'll
you
be
can
in
find-
volume one.
If you can find one, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Faye, can I just say, are we prioritising the right things? Sorry, I got that wrong. Yeah, we are prioritising the right
Yes,
things.
Yeah, that's what I,
But
Yeah.
the comments are, yeah.
But
but we needed more
further
information about the details.
about the breakdowns.
Yes, yes. So I said
Right.
I didn't know. I don't mind going with yes there.
Let's go
Yeah,
capital
so,
program.
Yeah, I'm not fixed
And that's
on-
where it follows with the outcome of
Okay,
what matters
yeah, I'm
most.
fine.
So we have prioritized.
So we'll move to the capital program. We're talking about a deliverable capital program, 6.5 billion over 10 years across a range of activities, including some key areas that you've told us are important through our resident surveys and early engagement. Then they've got a list and how much is allocated to each. And then the question is, are we prioritising the right things? Yes, no, or don't know.
So that's
Marie, if sort of you like to start this one.
So
So that's
capital program,
27,
I note that, well, the breakdown, we have, the budget for our different wards have been cut. Halswell was cut to 3.9 million. Hornby was cut by 12.9 million. Riccarton was cut by 3.2. So the whole board area budget was cut down by 13.5 or 13.6 million.
Is that
That's
compared to last year or compared to
last
last annual plan?
last annual plan. The current annual plan compared the proposed compared
Right.
to the
Okay.
current one. So
That's great.
it's that. And we had a lot of projects, budgets or projects that were removed in the proposed LTP, but that's different, it's fine. But what I'm asking here about these capital projects, there is no budget allocation in this capital schedule for Riccarton in terms of parks, recreation, sports, community arts, and events in the next 10 years. There's nothing for Riccarton here. We have for Halswell and Hornby, but for parks and foreshore, there's nothing for Riccarton.
We had the Sockburn Park down. It hasn't been included.
So what we're saying is,
Yeah.
yes, we agree to 870
Yep.
million being spent on parks, but consider that a portion of that needs to be spent in the Riccarton area on parks and green
Well, it
space.
certainly should go to Sockburn.
Yes,
Yep.
Sockburn development.
Yes.
Sockburn
It's a
project.
park.
Yeah, I was
It's a
wondering
park
what
too.
happened to that. Where did we?
I'll actually have to phone Tyler. I
So
think,
red
yeah.
will be removed. Red is removed from
Sockburn
the
Park, yes.
proposed LTP, and then yellow is the budget has been reduced. Green has been increased, and blue is new in the proposed LTP.
Ah, where did you get that?
I did it myself.
You did it yourself.
So I went through all of that for the whole board area.
Ah, great.
So which ones were removed? I did notice cart club was increased.
Oh, so Marie, you've color coded these yourself.
Yes,
Well
Oh.
done.
Well done.
That's
Yes.
because I needed to see and understand.
Yes.
And this is a really good point you raise, and I wonder if this could be done for future consultation, because it is so complicated and hard to understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's with my 1.5 years experience on a board.
So yeah, the red ones were interesting because they were in the previous LTP, and then now in this proposed LTP, they've been removed. So those
Ah.
projects have been removed.
So Tyler must
this
know
budget.
this, mustn't he? He must have been there at the meeting, I presume,
I don't know,
at some stage.
maybe, but they probably looked at
Marie,
different things.
with our our
Board priorities.
board priorities,
Yeah.
is there anything that's been missed off other than the Sockburn?
I was just wanting to question, because here, it says here it was removed, the Milnes Parks intersection safety improvement,
Yeah.
that we were informed that these are currently happening, but here it says it's been removed.
Oh,
So I don't know why.
So the
Ask
question,
on
Jen?
Thursday.
So here,
please.
Milnes Parks and Sutherland's intersection improvement, it's
Yes.
red.
And we've
So-
got a note here.
That's the one we signed off on the other day.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well, why is it
So
Remove.
we'll ask that on Thursday night with the
Yeah.
transport team.
Okay, thank you.
So things like.
Okay,
yeah,
get my
remove them.
glass.
So we'd probably say yes to that, but we'll
Yeah.
come back to it.
Yeah, come back to
Mm.
answering that.
So we've come back to that one. So we
I've
okay?
just got a yes there, and comment at the moment, draft comment is we note that of the 870 million, there is no provision for parks and green spaces in Riccarton Ward, and the board advocates for inclusion of the Sockland Park revitalisation. That is a board
Yeah.
priority.
Yes.
Yes, it was a board, it is a
Yes.
board priority.
They've taken out the cycle network in Stark Springs Road.
Hmm.
Have you heard of that? It's a Hornby
So
issue,
well,
I presume.
that's what's there. If it's red, it's been taken out.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it may have been taken out because it's already been done, the
Yeah,
funding
maybe.
out of this year or something.
Mm.
but
That's what I'm
we need to
thinking. If they've
clarify.
already taken the funds out
Yeah,
because it's being done in this
Could-
financial year, then they won't
yeah,
have it
they'll
there.
have it,
So,
yeah.
but we'll clarify that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, is there anything that you would like to tell us about our proposed specific aspects of our capital spend or capital program?
Let's do that after our briefing.
Yeah, because we already have the board's priorities. So we'll talk to those and come back if anything's been missed off.
Okay,
Great.
that's good. You all agree with that?
Yep.
Wait till the briefing?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, actually, the parks comment should probably go in down there, shouldn't it? The one about.
Yeah, that's
Stockbridge
why I-
Park.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
That's why I
yeah,
had done that.
yeah.
That's already on our,
Arrow there.
That's a
on our
definite,
hit
yeah.
list.
The hit list.
This is additional opportunity and options to our main proposal. And they've got, which of the 4 options do you think should be our focus for the 2024 long-term plan? Do what we've proposed in the draft long-term plan, explore other ways to bring down our rate increases across the draft LTP, and accelerate rates on some projects and programs with a focus on balancing the needs of today's residents with the needs of future generation. Don't know. So which of those do you like? Sarah, we'll start with you. Which of the following should be our focus for the 2024-2034 long-term plan?
the overwhelming feedback I've had from my community is that rates are too high. So I would have to be opting for exploring other ways to bring down our proposed rates increases across the draft LTP.
Okay,
And I agree with that.
and you agree? And I do too. So we can tick that. Next one, are there any areas where you feel we should be reviewing the services we provide to reduce our costs throughout the long-term plan? We talked the other day, if I could start with this one, about library services and not running them as late in the evening. Is there any acceptance of that, Marie?
I agree with that.
You agree with that, Sarah? Do you agree with that?
I would need to know how many people are using the libraries at these times that are proposed to
I would
have
say,
reduced hours.
and I
We
would
would
say,
need to make, we would
Yeah,
need to
So
have the
they
facts and the
would, they would
figures.
explore that.
Explore
then.
that.
So they
So,
look into
yeah.
that.
and I think we agree
That's our
that
suggestion.
the central library ought to be open, but these suburban ones are very quiet, they're hardly used after 6
They are
at night.
still-
Well, do you know that for
used.
sure?
Yeah, well, I wandered around them at that time, yeah.
Yeah.
They are
I-
used, but we don't know the level of usage. So that is one thing they can explore.
Are you
Explore.
also aware of people in the community that aren't perhaps safe at home and use libraries as a place to go to when they, just to be out of the house, particularly in the evenings in the winter time?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, there are, yeah. And I'm not
Yeah, but we
saying that
don't
should
know how.
determine
How
Yeah.
many?
But, just
There will be
being
different.
mindful of different
purposes.
situations.
Yeah.
Do you want to limit it to libraries? But I mean, should we look at
Or to
pool
explore.
opening hours or?
Sorry, what did you say?
No, you don't want
No,
to.
sorry, what did you say?
I said, do you want to limit your comment to libraries
And-
hours?
And
As
you
opposed
said
to-
something else.
Or other things like pool opening hours or other facilities?
Don't
No,
know.
don't. I mean, it's just I'm just asking.
I think it's important to be looking at it through a logical, rational. If there's facts and figures that show that,
Yes, but we don't have them now. That's why the suggestion here was just to look at it. And so
Yes,
they will
so
have
I
the,
think
it's
we'd
not-
be foolish to not be looking into it.
yeah, but it's not
It's not
actually
that we're
us.
actually
It's
doing
not
it.
us.
Yeah.
We will be doing it. So
Yes,
it
it'll
can
be
be
the
looked at.
staff. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'd be in support of it being
Yeah.
investigated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we agree on that, that
On
it could be looked
libraries
into.
and other services, you want that?
And
put in?
other services.
Okay,
Other
Considering,
facilities.
but considering the different reasons people may have in using those in late hours.
Well, we'd need to look at the
Mm.
numbers that are using it
Numbers and
Yes.
and why
main reason.
the reasons for people
Yeah.
using them.
So,
at
so
those
that probably work
That-
probably has
they will.
already been done
Yeah.
in coming up with these
Mm.
hours, I guess, but.
Yeah,
Mm.
on the previous,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
after hours and in the evenings and weekends, I suppose.
I use the library online.
Sorry,
I use the library online.
or do you? I always go in. Okay, I use libraries actually, yeah. Now, this is quite a tricky one. Major event bid funding. Should we leave bid funding for major and business events at current levels in the draft LGP as proposed, or should we increase the bid funding? And you either leave the bid funding or increase it. Marie, if you want to actually start with this one.
I think I've heard from the community divided views on this. So that's divided, but I have my views. But
What sort of your personal
well,
view?
my personal view is that we have spent so much already on the infrastructure, so we must now spend or increase the bidding to ensure Christchurch attracts a range of events. Otherwise, we just built like a white elephant buildings there, and we're not doing anything to attract
Okay.
events.
just-
But that's my personal view.
We need to keep
Yeah.
that separate.
Yeah,
So-
but she
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I did ask you.
This is where
But
we're,
because it is
yeah.
there's a mix, mixed views in the community, so it's
Yes.
difficult to,
Yes.
And that's the
to
thing,
balance
how do
that.
we represent
How
our
do-
community?
and how do we balance that?
How do we balance when we're trusted to be the decision makers on behalf of our community?
When they have a mixed view.
But you are going to have
So
mixed
then-
views in front
So
of council.
this is where you encourage your communities to make their submissions and make their voice heard on this.
Their own submissions.
So you can say, you can gather as much information as you can to make an informed decision, which is your role. But you also need to advocate that they need to make their personal submissions and have their voice heard every single time this comes around.
And you
And
will,
we've definitely been doing that for
Yeah.
sure.
and you'll certainly get views from the hospitality sector coming through, and then you'll have others
there's views on-
saying,
I know.
The whole spectrum.
So as
So what
staff,
do you
we
want?
can't tell you how to make your submission or what you need to say. It's just about how you feel you can articulate what you've heard as best you can.
we could say we don't know, or there's mixed
There
views.
is a mixed,
Mixed views, Sarah.
mixed views on a wide spectrum.
Yes, I think there is too, actually.
Um,
What's sort of your view, Sarah? Or I don't mean your view, but what you want to add?
Yeah, so just as we've just said, a mixed view on a large spectrum,
Yes.
but being mindful that when we're elected to represent our community and make decisions on behalf of our community.
But if our community has not made up their minds, because
Do we just
Of
say we
mixed
can't
views.
make a decision? I mean,
Mm.
there was conflicting
so
things
then
around
that's
other decisions
where-
we've made, but we've had to make a decision.
Mm.
So this is where I feel really conflicted about this whole process.
we have to make a decision on their
On
behalf.
one point, we have to make the decision. And another thing, we can't say what we personally think because it doesn't represent every single person.
Yeah.
So
But you have to
what's
remember,
the answer?
you have to remember the 700 or so other submissions. So we're just one part of this.
I just
we're
want to
representing a
highlight the
community.
fact that
Mm.
It is difficult.
it's difficult but I'm swayed more towards when we're elected to represent our community, I mean, not everybody voted for me in my community, so I'm still representing people that didn't vote for me as well. How do I balance that with what I have, the information that I've researched and been presented to make that decision on behalf of them? And so all of that considered, I would be swayed towards increasing the bid funding.
Because that's the thing, when we advocate for our communities, we do that as our role for a community board. But when we are in a decision-making table, we have to make an informed decision. It's not just about the community, because there are other factors that would contribute to making this
Yes or
decision.
no, it's a mixture.
And so we have to make that call for everybody, for our community. I mean, we can't please everybody, but they don't have all that information that we are privy to,
Correct.
that we know. So we have to make that decision, knowing their concerns, but knowing the other side of it, that there's other information that contributes to these.
Correct.
And that's how we make our decision.
So would
Yes.
you like to select, increase the bid funding, but in comments, note that the board notes
It's a-
that there is divided
that- yes.
opinion within the community on
Yes.
this?
It's very
would be-
divided over a
yeah.
large spectrum.
Yeah.
You're-
The
people are
community,
opposed.
but not the
Yes.
board, it's the community.
Yes, and so a lot of people are opposed and some people are
Yeah, we could say-
fervently for it.
As,
The board supports the increase in bid funding,
Yeah,
Yes,
But
but
we
we
do.
recognise the community.
has
probably
mixed
has
views.
reservations.
views.
Yeah.
Has mixed views
Has mixed views.
and
And
a
if-
wide, in a
And
wide
if you're
spectrum.
struggling in a house somewhere in Hornby-Riccarton, you'd say, what the hell? Well, I don't care. They'd say, I don't want it increased. Because they're having their rates up at the same time. Right, now this is tricky, this one. More investment in adapting to climate change. Do you think we should bring forward the 2024-25 additional 1.8 million currently spent to accelerate how we address climate risks? So it brings forward a 0.29% on the rates. So look, in view of the concern about climate change, this is my view. I think we probably do this. Yes, bring the 1.8 million forward. But Sarah, going to you, and
There is not enough information provided to make an informed decision on this topic. We need to know exactly what it will do, how the money will be accounted for.
okay.
And
Would you take?
that's to
Don't
do
know
with,
then,
that-
basically.
that's the climate resilient, hang on, that's the climate
you're talking
resilience
about the-
fund.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's the question before that, the 1.8 to be brought forward.
yes, so in the result of that would be a rates increase of 0.29%.
Can you clarify, Faye or Jess, on page 51, that first paragraph on our preferred option? What did they mean by that first paragraph? Was that bringing the 1.8 million or not? Because the second paragraph was saying that there are no adaptation plans anyway that have been completed, so there's
So-
nothing to do.
What will, I can't answer that on behalf of yet. I have that in front of me, but we can find out for Thursday and bring that back.
Yeah, because my understanding is that there are no adaptation plans completed yet, so there's nothing to do. So why do we need to bring forward the 1.8 million?
Because it's currently programmed to commence in 27-28, and what they're talking about is bringing it forward to commence 24-25.
Option to accelerate. That's the option to accelerate.
Yes.
So the preferred option,
yeah.
so the preferred option is do nothing. Because
We don't bring it forward.
we
is that
don't
what
bring
you're
it forward. Yeah.
We'll get clarification.
Yes, I think
I mean,
we
if
need
that was
clarification.
my understanding is correct, then we don't need to bring it forward. Because
Yeah.
there are no adaptation plans that need to be worked on.
Great.
They're not
Okay.
completed.
Yeah, so
But
So
yeah,
we'll
need
find
to
out and we'll get
confirm
that
that.
response.
Find out, okay, thank you.
yeah.
And then the next question is, should we create a climate resilience fund to set aside funds to manage future changes to council assets, including roads, water systems and buildings? Well, I'll start with this one. I think we probably do need this fund, but I do think the comment I made yesterday, if we do set aside the fund, it must go to a separate part of our bank, of our account system. And I talked about how a previous CEO had taken 12 million out of a housing maintenance fund to just spend on other things. It's a long time ago.
Isn't that technical malversation?
So
When it's allocated for something, it
it
should
must
be
be a
used for.
separate fund. And only the council can change that, basically. The 12 million was lost, which is probably about 25 million now. So, Sarah, have you got any views on this?
Yeah, so that was, sorry, I jumped the gun before.
Yeah.
My comment was pertaining to this resilience fund.
So your comment again is?
How this fund will be established, managed and governed, and the criteria of how the fund will be used all require further work. So no, I do not want this now, given what we know about how it's going to be used.
Or is that a don't
What's-
know? Not sure if we should
That was
create a climate.
Probably a don't know.
With the information that's provided to us so far, we need accountability, we need further information around, well, the hows, the whys,
Okay, so you're
that's,
no or don't know?
well, as it stands,
Yes.
I'm a no,
No. Okay,
but that's not to say that
No.
with further information and accountability,
yeah. Okay, Marie, what's your view?
I'm a yes to create a climate resilience fund. It is important to ensure that the city has the funds to support the actions that would protect the people's lives, property, and infrastructure as a result of the climate change event. I am involved, as you know, with flood management
That's right, yeah.
areas, and there are these, so whatever natural disaster we have, what happens if the roading is, all those things that happen,
yeah.
we have the funds to repair them or protect them or do whatever is needed.
And I
for
don't disagree
climate.
with that.
Yes,
If that's what it's going to be used for, but currently we
Yes.
don't have.
so it's still, things like that. So we don't have the funds yet. So it still needs to be worked out. So the criteria, everything will need to be worked on. But so this is just like a referendum, whether do we set aside funds for this or not? And I'm in support of that.
So we've got two who support it and one person who's don't know or know.
Need more information.
Are you able to go with
Well,
a yes at all or not?
I'm sorry, I can't,
You
because it's
can't.
also, I mean, this is increase in rates of 0.25. It's not a huge amount, but it is $127 million.
It's also for future generations.
Yes, I know, and they keep talking, the younger ones talk about this, don't they? It's an issue for younger people because it's their
Your
future.
children.
It's their future. You know, and people of 20 to 30 and below are highly energised on climate change.
Why are they high? I mean, we won't go here now, but I have a lot of questions around this, and they're not. I don't have the answers to enable me to support having a climate resilience fund right now.
Okay, so where do we go with this, Jess? So we've got a division
So
here. So we just
it's
say
not
there's a mixed
division,
view.
It's not a division. So the delegation is with you and Marie to put forth a submission based on what you've heard from your community board and community. So you've heard from Sarah,
Yeah.
you've heard from the other members of the board and your communities. It's up to you and Marie to decide what you put in your submission now. So you have the information to make that informed decision. If you'd like to make a point on submission on this.
Can we make a final on that after the Thursday?
Of course you can.
Yes, and I think, Faye, we can record there's definitely a mixed view on this, just as sort of
It's
a comment.
around the information.
Yeah, it's putting a
You know, how the fund will be established, managed and governed, and the criteria of how the fund will be used all require further work. So I need clarification on that before I could support.
So it's true, we'll put it in as a don't know, a tentative don't know. at
I'd
this
rather
stage.
no. I think
Okay.
it's mixed.
Yeah.
So
Although the
as a
preferred-
comment, there's a mixed view in board members and also across the community to it.
But we need to answer to one of these because it won't let us move on unless we do, I think.
Yeah, but the preferred option is to include it in the capital program rather than a separate fund. But the
I think a separate fund makes it more secure, as long as it is secure.
But including it in the capital program would mean there would be no change to the proposed rates increases in the draft LTP. So that's a consideration. If we create a separate resilience fund, the rates will increase.
That's right.
If we put that fund with the capital funds,
Okay.
there will be no rates increase.
So then,
But then how do we separate
protect
that? It filters
it's protecting out.
yeah,
It's protect,
protect that,
yes.
that
Well,
fund. So we need to find out if we do the preferred option of including it or combining it with the capital funds, how is that going
Yes,
to
we
be
do. Yes. That's good.
set aside?
Thank you. Yes. And how will it be ensured that it's kept
It's
for this?
kept
Yes.
for that purpose.
Rather than what we had with housing.
So in
yeah.
that case, then the rates will not increase.
So it would be a don't know, not sure if
Not-
we should create a climate resilience fund. That's a separate fund. There'd be an
Yes,
agreement.
So at the moment,
I'm
we'll
not sure.
finalize, after.
I
on
think we
Thursday,
do have
after
to do
Thursday.
something, actually. Yes.
No, but Helen, that's not the question.
No, I know. It's, do you
Don't know
want to
is
say?
saying not sure if we should create a climate resilience
Yeah,
fund.
so that's
not saying that
Yeah,
money's
we-
not
That's
here
that's a
available.
don't know for now.
And the question
Well-
is, can it be part of the capital program?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
preferred option.
The preferred
It should
option,
be
yeah.
part of the capital program, but how is it going to be
Yeah, I know.
managed
I
there?
know.
So that's what we need more info about.
So we want further information on how a fund would be managed as part of the capital program or
No,
not
do we
the
want to
fund,
know, could it be managed as part of the
yeah, but it's not-
capital
it's just not the
program?
So it
fund.
says here, we propose that climate adaptation related capital
Oh, okay.
expenditure initiatives will need to be
Okay.
included in our capital
Right,
program.
what page is that, Marie?
Page 52, there will be no dedicated fund to support actions arising from
Thank you.
adaptation
Yeah.
planning. This would mean there will be no change to our proposed rates increase.
Okay,
The risk of not including additional funding is that future generations may need to contribute more to address climate resilience.
Yeah.
That's the risk.
I think it shows we're doing something too.
Yeah.
Even though it's quite minor in some ways. It's quite a minor adaptation financially.
So it is, there's no dedicated fund
Fund,
to
I know,
support
yeah.
them, but
I-
it
I
will
think
be
I support-
included.
I
there.
support the dedicated fund actually, some level.
Yeah, but then that will increase the
Increase
rates,
I know,
which
I
we are
know.
trying to avoid,
I know.
where we can cut down the rates. So
Can we say, Faye, it's a
Most
very,
of the feedback that I've had for around
Yeah.
residents that are wanting to reduce rates,
yes,
they want to keep the basics. And if they were to do away with anything, it was this,
so this would
I
be
know.
this
good.
was something
So,
that they were
this
like,
is not a core.
but young people would say it is the core of their future.
But
Ve- I
it's
mean,
future.
that's-
are they informed about,
Well, they seem to be, don't they?
do they get both sides?
Probably not, no.
That's what they want.
It's what that, when they put in the boibles in jars, it's what the young ones are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is
Yeah.
that because that's what they're taught at school?
Probably,
Do they
Well,
get both sides? Do they get,
I don't know.
are they allowed to
So
make an
we'll find
informed
out on
decision?
Thursday, and then we'll finalize
Yes,
after the meeting. Maybe we can stay a bit
a bit after,
after
yes.
the.
I'll put something round.
Cool.
So,
I'll
are
try
we-
and draft up today's thoughts.
Yes,
And get
yeah.
out to you ahead of that.
Yeah.
And I'll put, like draft comments on to be explored and or something.
are we able to say, Faye, there's a very mixed view across the community on this issue?
Yeah.
So you'll have some people who don't want it and other people who feel fervently if council can't do this, what are they doing? I've heard mixed views on it. Okay.
Yep. Community outcomes.
I think it's
and
important
priorities.
that we're making decisions around the climate in this particular one, that we are listening to experts on both sides.
Well, I'm certainly not I'm personally not involved in climate change, but I do know that lots of younger people think it's really important. And it's,
Should we go on to the next one?
Yeah, next one. Community outcomes and priorities. Do you have any thoughts on our vision,
Page
community
15.
outcomes and strategic priorities?
Page 15. Our vision,
You want, if you want to
14 and 15.
start, Marie?
Oh,
15.
I was just trying to a place where anything is possible. I think the guiding vision, I'm fine with it. I don't know if you have any about the vision first. Vision. We can't make it any more complicated.
I think we need to look after the existing people, but it means I think they are, doesn't it? I mean, it looks like new
A
ideas,
place of opportunity for
people.
all.
new investment and new ways of doing
It
things.
feels a little bit like we're doing away with everything.
I know.
And we're all about the new.
It feels like
Out
that.
with the old, in with the
The
new.
new, and I'm not okay,
feels
I'm
like
not
that,
okay with
doesn't
Feels-
that.
Oh, yeah.
What
okay,
about the
yes,
current people who are ratepayers?
Sounds like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out with the old, in with
And
the
with the
new.
new.
Yeah.
So I think we need to make sure there's a place here for established residents. But it's not just the new.
But then it
Mm.
doesn't it, isn't it covered at the first sentence, a place of opportunity for all?
Yeah, but then you go on to spend
The
two
new-
more lines talking about all the.
New, it's
new
got
things.
four new. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Place open to,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we can't say,
Yeah.
what can we say, old and new, I guess? Old and new people, old
Yes,
and new.
there's an emphasis on the new,
But
which is
that
okay.
strategic framework's already been adopted, hasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's been
Strategic framework
adopted, hasn't
is
it?
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
Mm.
so
and
So
this.
it's just asking about our thoughts on the
Yes,
vision.
does the board have anything they want to add, contribute, say to this point?
Oh, we just say that it sounds like in with the, out with the old, in with the new. That's how it feels.
Yes, it does,
What do you
when
wanna
you read
say?
it carefully. Yeah, it sounds like
There's no allowance for existing ideas, people and
Yes, I
investment.
know, yes.
or ways of doing things.
Yes, I agree, actually. So it's got, yeah, I agree. If you
There's so
put
much
that down, it
emphasis
was really
on
good.
new.
That was good, Faye.
Replacing
Yeah,
Yeah.
the replacement of old with the new.
we knew. Yes, it.
And then on the community outcomes, gosh. Yeah, I was asking earlier, there used to be something about the healthy city. Did we have 5 outcomes before?
We do.
So because,
Yeah, I agree.
we have collaborative, confident city, a green, livable city, which we had
Yes,
also,
I think it's
cultural
fine.
powerhouse city, a thriving, prosperous city. The healthy city has been dropped off.
Has it? Oh.
Well, that's what I think,
Mm.
but unless
No,
It's
that's
not
good.
under livable, is it?
it was under livable and well connected, supporting those reduced lines region, especially by water bodies and tree canopy. It's like a health, healthy. Because I think before we had a healthy, livable city. So now we have a green,
Oh, I've got a green, yes.
healthy.
I've got it printed off at home
Have you?
because I
Which one? The old one?
the old one. So I'll just compare it with it.
Oh, is
Would
it
you?
in our agenda? Do we have that, the outcomes in the agenda?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
In
do
our
usually.
template
but-
agenda?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, if you want to have a think about this, we can
We
come back to
it.
it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It probably needs.
Because I didn't have
yeah.
time to look into
No,
it.
that's fine, good. And our strategic priorities.
Oh, where are we?
Same again.
Oh,
I'd need to compare
Same,
it.
yeah, I haven't looked, at
So
that in
question
detail.
mark there still,
Yeah, we'll
check
come back
it,
to that.
right? And then we've got the first question. Have we got in? Oh, we've got a whole lot over the page. So we can all agree on what do you think of our proposal to gift Yaldhurst Hall to the Yaldhurst Rural
The
Residents
Yaldhurst Memorial.
Association? We
Yeah.
agree. And it's going, we can add
Agree,
a comment,
yeah.
it's going through the Plan Change 13. That's going through the district.
What
Yep.
do you mean?
It's down
Heritage.
there as a heritage building.
It's not being recommended though, is it?
It's mentioned.
Oh.
I've been through that.
But-
plan, yeah.
Yes, my understanding was that it was put in as a proposal, but not being
Yeah,
recommended
it's
by
not being
staff.
recommended.
It's not
No, I think it was recommended.
No, it
No, I
wasn't.
think it was not recommended.
It was
That's
not
why I was saying it's
recommended.
Oh,
not
no,
being
no.
mentioned.
No, it's recommended it become a heritage building.
I thought it
No,
was
it's
recommended.
not.
Would you check, Fabian?
It's
No,
not.
and I'm sure it is. At the time,
think-
it might have changed, but it was at the
That's-
time.
That's how we're
I think
at
from,
this point where we are now, because it's not being recommended as a heritage listed building.
that was my understanding when we were
So,
asking about it.
No, it's the heritage status has been confirmed, but the gifting is separate, isn't it? So
Yes, the gifting is
it's
separate.
separate,
yeah.
yes.
The gifting is,
It's
yeah, we
separate.
support
So,
that.
so yeah, just yes.
Yeah, support.
What do you think of our proposal to start formal processes to dispose of 5 council-owned properties? Do you have any comment, Marie?
5 council-owned properties.
Yes.
Was that
There's
the one in
one-
volume 1? Is that the one
Sadie's
where
Road, I
I,
think.
no, there was 32 Sutherland's Road?
Sutherland.
Faye?
It's-
Hang on,
Could
I'm
you
just looking
confirm
for it.
that, please? I think that was in volume 1, right at the end. We don't have the book
And I
here.
think it was just one in fact, our board area, wasn't it?
That is
Yes.
only one within our board
Yes.
area, the others are outside.
And are we
I looked at all the properties.
fine with that one?
Yes, that was the one adjacent to Tekuru, wetlands.
Mm.
Yes,
And
that's
that is
right.
a surplus,
Yeah.
land that council no longer.
So you
needs.
could always put in a comment, something, the board supports
Supports.
the disposal of properties that are no longer required by the
Yep.
council or,
Mm.
yeah.
That's fine. And we can mention, Faye, which one it is in sort of our
Do we need to?
board area, because we don't want to go against any other. If
Mm.
any other area has got a strong sense of holding it,
Yeah.
like New
okay,
Brighton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So specifically, I
Our
think there was
area.
32 Sutherland's Road.
Mm-mm.
But
Okay.
you might need to specify, if you're going to specify the property, you might use the legal description
Yeah.
because when it said there 32 Sutherland's Road, I searched it on the map and it showed me this parcel.
Oh, a huge
But
parcel.
when a huge parcel, but then Andre has been doing this public meetings and he has a map of that property, which is just a rectangle.
Yes.
And I said, how come that's different from what I've got? And he said, oh, this is what was sent to me from council. So it
Yes,
must be
because
a part of that whole big thing that I looked at.
So it's subject to survey, I think. That
Yes.
parcel has to be surveyed.
So if
not
it's
to be
32
sold.
Sutherland's Road, it's this whole big
Yeah.
area, but it's only
Yeah.
this legal description that's going to be subdivided. This is the one
Yeah,
that's.
I'll
not
use the
needed.
description that's in the.
Yes,
Will
that's
you?
correct.
The
yeah.
the actual legal
Thank you.
description. Thank you. And then what do you think of our proposal to dispose of other council-owned properties?
The
which-
residential.
Which includes former residential redesigned Port Hills properties. I don't know much about this. I think it's okay. Have you got any views, Marie? Have you got any views?
I've
Sarah?
not talked about this to any of my
No.
constituents.
No, shall we just say no comment? We don't have any particular comment on it.
No comment.
Now, just going back to question 1, which we skipped over,
And your,
Easy, actually.
and yours is, yes, we're fine with that.
board supports.
Yes.
Now, what our overarching proposal is to focus on a capital program that helps drive our city forward with particular investment in roads and transport infrastructure and protecting and upgrading our water networks.
So
Then it goes on
program.
to borrowing for long-term projects and ensure that the debt repayments are spread fairly across the generations of ratepayers who will benefit from them. We're maintaining enough financial flexibility to be able to handle unplanned events, and we're finding permanent efficiencies in our day-to-day spending. Overall, have we got the balance right? Sarah, do you want to start with that?
I couldn't answer that until I've heard the briefing on Thursday.
No. Marie, you might be able to guide us.
Overall, in general, overall, we're on the right track, but
The
of course,
rates
we
are too
can't please everybody.
So on the right track, but we'd like the rates lower. Is that basically what we're saying?
On the right track, but we could do better.
In terms of rating levels, you mean? Or in terms of something else?
In terms of exploring other options to reduce.
Oh, okay.
rates.
But could do
But
better. We can change the wording
yeah,
in exploring other options. Which takes us back to Sarah's point about the trading enterprises. Are we wanting to put that down or not?
we'll find out because we're going to ask that on Thursday, I think. Were we?
No, it's
What's that?
it's
What's
the
that?
issue of the large airports and ports and where we went. I don't actually want to explore. I know why the Labor grouping hasn't explored that too, because they fear that once you explore it, you'll find that you move to asset sales. Okay.
But the thing is, if you've got an asset that is not making money, is not benefiting, I mean, I don't have a business mind, but you know, it would make logical sense if you sold it to invest the money into something that's going to make you more money.
So do we
Yes.
know which assets are not making money?
We don't know that because council turned down investigating it.
I thought it was the council turned it down to investigate the sale of the assets.
No,
No,
it
was-
wasn't.
They
the
didn't
sale.
want the look at.
It was just the
looking at it.
investigation.
Yeah, I can
But I
understand.
don't know the reasons why.
I think it was on the sale of the assets.
No, I
Well,
think
no,
it
but
was
it-
an
no.
exploration.
It
but
was only
the
ever
fear was, I think,
exploration.
it would lead to asset sales. In 1984, in government, central government, that's what happened. Sorry, I've got a long history of this. And so they started to explore things and it led automatically to asset sales.
So by
Government
exploring, it
By
would
exploring,
lead to.
Perhaps
So-
if we just
We also have
leave that
some
out and think about it.
business-minded
Yeah.
councillors
Mm.
that have a lot of experience in business,
Yes,
that appreciate how things work and that want the best for our community, that want, you know, to reduce the rates burden on our community. And this was one way
it
of,
is one way. of
So
doing it.
what you're saying is what you said, you mentioned earlier, you are not for the sale of the assets. But what are you saying?
generally speaking, no, but I think that it would be unwise to investigate if there was any potential assets that either wasn't making money, you know, could be different. I don't know the ins and outs of how it would be investigated. Oh, sorry, what would be investigated. But I think that it's always worth checking as a business to see how businesses are going and, yeah, whether or not flexibility to invest or divest. I think it's worth exploring for sure.
So what they're asking there, our overarching proposal is to focus on a deliverable capital program that helps drive our city forward, particular investment in roads and transport infrastructure and in protecting, it's just gone off the screen, protecting water supply.
And upgrading our water networks.
Yeah, so we think they've got,
Yes.
do you think they've got the balance right in their focus on those
I
items?
do.
I do in terms
I do.
of the actual language, I do.
Yeah.
So in
So
terms of what they're
generally.
saying,
Yeah,
In terms of
whether
what they're
the
saying,
actions and figures match up, we just don't know.
but the figures already show that the operational
Oh,
and the
that's right, yes.
capital fund budgets are in line with what the community wanted
Yes.
anyway.
So I think they've got it right.
The balance.
except the balance is right.
The balance and the
but It's just the
priorities.
issue of rates, I think, for people.
yeah,
But
okay.
Mm.
people will always want rates lower.
I know, I know. Okay,
So we'll put, overall, we've got the balance right. Comment is, need to look at other ways to fund it, basically.
and no, the other issue is the rate, the
Yes,
rate
yeah,
of
we've
levels.
got that down.
Yes,
Yep.
good. And can I give them congratulations on this too? I think we should put in that this has been particularly
the-
detailed.
Top or at the bottom of the
And-
You can
section?
put that in any other comments for
Yes,
last.
any other
Yes,
comment?
yeah.
It's really, I think it's been really
The
good.
last one.
It's detailed and as clear as it basically can be in terms of a complex topic. We haven't had this before in such a easy to read form, actually. But it's complex as well, as Sarah points out. Any other comments? Anything else we want?
No, I would just want to point to Sarah if you're going to look at the volume 1, the fees and charges, if you wanted to look at it, I think it's from page 223. Page 223.
Is there anything else that's changed in
Thank you.
those fees and charges?
Fees and charges.
Anything else that you think's dramatic?
Acro Museum, libraries, non-city. I didn't know there was non-city resident charges, annual subscription.
Yes.
So then there's the pool hire, the hydrotherapy pool, 37.90, from 37.90 to 38.85, just 95 cents increase. That's community for the full 30 minutes anyway. Gym membership, birthday party packages, meeting rooms, the small, large rooms, kitchen hire, Nyapunawai, tennis. I've noticed in Marie's, this one, they wanted the tennis courts free, but there is a casual hire per court in Nyapunawai, which is 11, but it's going down from $11.20 to $10.
Wow.
So
It's going
casual
down.
hire is going down. And then there's the New Brighton hot salt water pools. There's difference between off-peak and peak season, but it's generally going up by $2. Christchurch resident cards by $1. Then there's the 10 visit pass, monthly pass.
Oh, can I
all
just
those.
ask another the library late fees that were abolished?
So it's still there as abolished.
Yes, a couple of years ago.
So, yes, we talked about it yesterday, about
Fines.
probably
The
putting it
fines.
back in.
Mm.
But
The late
we were wondering what the impact, does that generate
income,
income?
if we put it back in, if we suggest to put it back in.
We can put that in any other, in your
in the-
comments.
In the comments.
Mm.
Yeah, as a
Yeah.
consideration. Yep.
Yeah, because I
We
wondered
did talk
what the
about it yesterday.
justification for that was.
Sarah Templeton, what I read in the media, she brought it to council and showed what happened in other councils. And when they'd taken the fees away, they got the books back more easily. I don't know if I accept that, but
Well, if
Yeah.
that's what the figures state,
Yeah.
then that's fine.
yeah. Yes, perhaps if you can check that, because I thought it was a bit unusual at the time.
Yep, we can check that.
Mm.
Why it was
Okay.
removed in the first place.
So Faye and Jess, have you got any sort of comments?
I'll write it up for you to look at.
And then we'll continue on Thursday evening and then submit on Friday.
And vote yes.
Okay, so I'll
Thanks, Marie. That's
Oh.